Around midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening. Suddenly, there was a massive earthquake, and the prison was shaken to its foundations. All the doors immediately flew open, and the chains of every prisoner fell off. Acts 16, 25 and 26. While Paul and Silas were on a missionary journey, Paul had a dream one night of a man from Macedonia begging him to come over to Macedonia and help us. Acts 16:9. Subsequent to their arrival there, the owners of a female slave had them thrown into prison for casting out an evil spirit that enabled her to predict the future, thus bringing an end to a lucrative enterprise. It is interesting to note what Paul and Silas did in prison. Rather than suffering in silence, rather than complaining about their plight, they prayed and sang hymns to God. It would have been easy for them to question God. After all, it was God who called them to Macedonia in the first place. Why call them to a place where they would only end up in jail? Instead, they prayed and sang songs of praise and worship before God. Suddenly, the Bible tells us there was an earthquake and the prison doors flew open and their chains fell off. You may be in a prison of some sort today, and as a consequence, you have a choice to make. You can suffer in silence, or complain about your plight, or question God, or you can do what Paul and Silas did, pray to God and sing to Him with praise and worship. Unlocking the doors of your prison may well depend upon the attitude you bring to the situation. It seems obvious that God responded to Paul and Silas because of their worshipful attitude. This is not to say that any negative situation can be immediately resolved simply by prayer and songs of praise and worship. These things are not magic methods to control God. Nevertheless, the story of Paul and Silas gives us an example of the attitude we should take in such circumstances and the response from God it can elicit. With prayer, praise and worship, there may be a suddenly in your future as well. But remember one thing very important. When you are in prison and the door flew open and the chains fell from your hand and this massive earthquake happened, you still gotta do one thing. You need to stand up and walk outside this prison. Because God give you that massive earthquake, He will make these chains fall from your hand and the door will be open, but you have to take that step. You have to walk outside of this prison. Have a blessed one.